Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope you all are in good health. We have been experiencing quite a lot of rainfall nowadays, haven't we? Did you enjoy the beautiful rain? Did you try touching the raindrops and letting them fall on the palm of your hand? Well, you must try it. Today in our science lesson, we are going to talk about sense of touch. So let's get started. Inshallah, in today's lesson, we will learn that our skin gives us our sense of touch. We will also identify textures of different things. And we will observe hot or cold, hard or soft, wet or dry, and sharp or blunt objects by using our sense of touch. Don't you think, students, that our hands are a very important part of our body, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with? We can do so many things with our hands. So we must make sure that we use our hands in a fruitful manner in doing good deeds like helping others, giving sadaqah, helping our family and fellows, planting trees, and many other good deeds. We must avoid using our hands to hurt anyone, whether it is a human being, a plant, or an animal. So, which part of our body gives us our sense of touch? Our skin, that's right. Although we mostly use our hands to touch or feel something, but it is our skin all over our body that gives us our sense of touch and allows us to determine whether something is hot or cold, rough or smooth, hard or soft, wet or dry, or sharp or blunt. Let's talk about hot or cold objects. Students, some objects are hot to touch. For example, when your mom makes a steaming hot cup of coffee or tea, have you ever accidentally touched it? No, don't ever do that because you might burn your finger. And fire, that is also very hot. And what about cold objects? The ice in your freezer. When you touch it, or have you tried holding the ice cube in your hand for a long time? Ooh, your fingers start getting numb, don't they? And ice cream also. When you hold ice cream in your hands also become cold and you can feel that it's very cold, isn't it? Let's now talk about rough or smooth surfaces. Some materials have irregular or uneven surface. They are called rough, whereas some materials have an even surface. They are called smooth. So rough objects could be a piece of wood or a piece of stone. When you try touching it, your hand might also get scratched and a little bit hurt. Yes? So that's a rough texture. That's a rough material that you're touching. Smooth surfaces could include a CD. Try touching the surface of a CD. It is all straight and nice and smooth, right? And what about the marble counter of your kitchen, the marble surface? Try running your hand over it. It is all straight and smooth also. All even surface, right? So, how do we know whether something is rough or smooth? Through our skin, through our sense of touch. Let's now talk about hard or soft objects. I think most of you already know about this, don't you? Objects that can be bent or squished easily are soft objects, just like the soft and nice pillow you sleep on at night, and a ball of wool. You can press it and squish it, right? Because it is so soft. Hard objects are those which cannot be squished or bent easily. For example, a hard rock or a hard stone. Can you try to bend it? No. Also, a wooden table. That is also hard. We can knock on it, but we can't bend it or squish it, can we? Let's now talk about dry or wet objects. A few days back when it was raining, did you try going in the rain? What happened? All your clothes became wet, right? They were dripping with water when you touched them. And what about your hair? They also became wet, didn't they? So some objects are soaked up with water or any other liquid. They are called wet objects. Even if you touch sand which has water in it, it becomes all muddy and yucky and your hands are spoiled, isn't it? The clothes which are taken out of the washing machine are all wet and they have to be hung on the clothesline for them to be dried in the sun, right? So these are the example of wet objects. What about dry objects? Dry objects are free from any kind of moisture or liquid. For example, the shirt that has been hanging on the clothesline for some time, it gets dried up in the sun. When you touch it, there is no water in it. It's all dry. And what about dry sand? When you touch it, it doesn't spoil your hand. It just falls out of your hand. Okay? So these were the examples of dry things. Let's now talk about sharp or blunt objects. What is blunt? Blunt means having a thick edge or point. For example, your pencil nib. When you don't sharpen your pencil, the nib of your pencil becomes blunt, as you can see in the picture. The butter knife, it doesn't have a pointed edge. It has a round and a thick edge, and it is not sharp. It cannot injure our hands, right? Whereas sharp objects have a sharp edge or point and it can cut easily. For example, when you sharpen your pencil nib, it becomes all pointed and sharp. Yes, even if you touch it with your finger, you get a little hurt. Also, a sharp knife. You must always stay away from sharp knives in the kitchen, right? Because your skin can get cut and injured. You can even bleed. That's why sharp objects are dangerous to touch. We are going to now talk about different textures. What is a texture? You can read this word on the screen. The texture of something tells us whether it has a rough surface or a smooth surface. Let's get on to understand this more. So we spoke about rough surfaces earlier. Do you know, students, that the rough surfaces can be of many types? For example, sandy, hairy, thorny, or bumpy. Have you ever seen a sandpaper which is used to scrape the wall before it is painted? How rough is that? A bubble wrap, which we all love to burst. The bumpy bubble wrap. When you touch it, it is all bumpy, right? Have you ever tried petting a cat? You notice that its body is hairy. The surface of its body is hairy and rough. What about the cactus plant? It is very thorny and it can hurt our fingers. Just like rough surfaces, smooth surfaces are also of different types. For example, a smooth surface may be silky, just like a silk cloth. When you touch it, it is so soft and smooth. Glassy, a glassy marble. When you touch it, that is also smooth. A waxy candle is also an example of smooth surface. The blanket that you cover yourself up with at night, especially during winters, is all soft and warm. Your sense of touch tells you that the blanket is soft and warm, and you sleep so comfortably. Have you ever touched honey? Honey is also wet and sticky. It gets stuck to your fingers and you have to wash them. Your sense of touch tells you that honey is sticky. Look at your pillow. Try touching it. What can you tell me about your pillow? It is soft and dry. Your sense of touch told you that. What about a glass of water? Try touching it. Is it soft or hard? It is hard and smooth. Your sense of touch helped you to know that. Now let's review what did we get to know about the surfaces and textures of different things by using our sense of touch. Number 1, dry. the clothes hanging on the clothesline, hard bricks or stones, rough rocks, cold ice, a wet shirt hanging on the clothesline, soft feathers, smooth balloons, and hot tea or coffee. Dear students, can we touch and feel with our hands only? No, we can touch and feel with all of our skin all over our body and know whether a surface or a material is smooth, rough, hard, or soft. So here on screen you can see 4 columns. The first one is the column of smooth things. You can touch yourself also. Tile, glass, window, table, and paper. Try touching these things and let yourself know that these things are or the materials are smooth. Rough. Look at the column of rough things. Sandpaper. You saw the picture before? Towel, tree trunk, a rock, and road outside is also rough. The column of hard things. Table, chair, a rock, key, marble, spoon, and plate is also hard. What about soft things? Look at the last column. Blanket, a comforter, feathers, pillow, towel, bed, your sweater, and tissue paper is also soft. There is another interesting activity in your science workbook, page 15 and 16. Tree bark rubbings. This is very interesting. You have to go outdoors for this. You have to go out and find a place where there are trees. You have to select a tree trunk, as you can see in the picture. You will take a piece of paper and stick onto it, and then you will take a crayon and rub on the paper, as you can see in the next picture. Once it's done, you will remove the paper from the tree and cut it into a small size and paste it in your workbook on page 16. You have to take 2 tree bark rubbings. Alright, so what things do you need for this? Just a place where there are trees, a plain paper, a paper tape, and crayons. That's it.